Jeremy McGrath is on a record-setting pace. The Supercross fans in the Midwest came out to capture a record of their own. 55,723 have jammed the Metrodome, the largest crowd of the young season. Hello, everybody, and welcome to round 2 of the U.S. Supercross Series. I'm Art Ekman along with David Bailey, former Supercross champion. And David, Jeremy McGrath was absolutely brilliant in the opener in Orlando.
Well, he was, you know, and we've all been waiting to see LaRocco get through the pack and challenge him, and he did just that. Appeared as though that McGrath was pulling away, and later we found out that LaRocco had no rear brake and crashed as a result. And, but he does seem to be getting off the line a little better. If he does that again tonight and with a rear brake, who knows?
Also, there's been a challenge as far as showmanship is concerned. Last week, I'm speaking of Michael Craig in the heat race.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he had it upside down on one of the triples, and he has a new another trick where he takes his leg and crosses over in front, and it's called a can-can. And while it looks real impressive, I think McGrath gets the last laugh with a victory.
Tonight is the first of 2 meetings where the East 125 riders get a chance to test the West. The West with more experience, especially with Damon Huffman, the defending champion, and Ryan Hughes, a veteran.
Well, they're the veterans, obviously, but the top 3 finishers from Orlando appear to be the new kids on the block, and they've already got one 125 event under their belt, so it should be real interesting.
The track here in the Metrodome, very interesting. The riders expect it to rut up and be very rough in the whoops. Let's take a look.
Here it is. It's your classic Supercross track. You got triples on each side of the racetrack to dazzle the fans. You got a little shorter starting line than what we had last week in Orlando. Also, more room to file through that first turn. That long whoop section with those 2 ruts is going to pose problems for these riders.
Let's see how the future stars handle them as the 125 main event is next. This edition of the A bonus for the fans here in Minneapolis. It is the first of only 2 meetings on the year that both East and West regions 125 riders will face each other. A chance for the cream of each crop to test their skills against one another. 2 dominant riders out west. We saw Damon Huffman and Ryan Hughes. Here's Tim Ferry, who won the Eastern opener flag to flag with Frenchman Mikel Pichon taking 2nd place last week.
There you see Ryan Hughes in the starting lineup. He's coming off a strong finish in Orlando, 6th place in the 250. And let's not forget, Damon Huffman was on the ground halfway through that main event. I hope he's 100% still.
He took a hard crash in the 250s, trying it out in Orlando. Last year's 125 Western champion, Huffman won at Anaheim and last year right here in the Metrodome. It will also be interesting, David, to see how Kevin Windham, the young 16-year-old on the Yamaha, will do here against the Western stars, more experienced stars.
Well, he's got more experience under his belt now, having gone out and finished on the podium in his first ever Supercross. It had to give him a boost of confidence.
All right, we're ready. They're revving up. They're waiting for the gate to drop, and there she goes in the dash for the whole shot. Look at that. It's a battle between Pingree, number 41, Windham, 43, and Ryan Hughes, number 9. The Skycam.
Ryan Hughes takes a nice line around the first corner. He's got the inside. Looks like Kevin Windham right now controls the pace.
Windham out in front, number 43, with Hughes on the run. And it looks like Hughes is destined to take over the lead here before the end of the first lap. Ryan Hughes on the Kawasaki Pro Circuit.
Ryan Hughes is very aggressive, and he just made a nice calculated move there. He just chose the inside all the way up the straightaway.
Whoa! Hughes goes down. Windham takes over the lead. Huffman goes by. A bad break for Ryan Hughes.
Well, here's another look. You see Windham gets in there and touches him a little bit. Ryan's front end washes out over the berm, and he goes down. I think Windham just caught him by surprise, and he lost his concentration. Just let the front end get away from him.
So the young 16-year-old Kevin Windham, number 43 in the lead. There's Huffman, number 1. 26 is Brown. 41 Pingree. 27 Craig Decker. 101 Pichon. Not a very good start for him, David.
Not at all, and you can see how difficult it's going to be for him to pass, especially to those whoops where it's starting to develop one line.
Kevin Windham, what a story he was earlier. He got tangled up with Gonzalez in the heat race, edged Pedro in the last lap for the final transfer spot. Gonzalez had to go to last chance qualifier, which he won. But Kevin Windham finds himself out on top of this race. Is that a great advantage in this track?
It's an excellent advantage right now. The only competition I think he feels right now is that of Damon Huffman, who's lurking back there in 2nd. The other good guys are buried in the pack. Dobb got off to a bad start. Pichon's back there, and Ryan Hughes is all the way in the back, having to work his way up from the first lap fall.
Already Huffman in second place behind number 43, Kevin Windham. Huffman seems like he's feeling the track out a little bit right now.
Well, he's smart. He knows that as long as he keeps Windham right there within striking distance, he knows he's got plenty of time to make that pass.
Oh, those ruts are something else as Huffman and Brown second and third. There goes Decker, number 27. He's staying close. 23 is Ferry. Ferry, the winner last week in Orlando with just the Eastern region riders participating. Pingree, number 41. Ferry, number 23, touches the hay bale but makes a nice move. Decker, 27, right in the mix as well.
Well, you know, if Ferry hit that hay bale, it actually just kind of swung the back end around and helped him make the pass. He almost lost the front end, and Pingree goes back up the inside. A lot of passing in that section right there.
Pingree likes that tabletop. Got good momentum into the bowl.
Well, he did a nice job of designing the track right there because it gives you a lot of different options. Whether you want to jump, early in the thing or jump going into the corner, there's a lot of different options. He just chose the faster one into the corner and made the pass.
Ferry taking the inside line, but Pingree coming back once again. Ferry, Pingree, and Decker. Quite a three-way battle behind the two leaders.
Well, while these guys are battling, you can see the leaders starting to get away again. Same thing that happened last week. And it's going to be difficult for people like Pichon and Ryan Hughes to come up from the back, get through all these guys. I have a feeling by the time they do, the leaders will be gone.
Easy to see the ruts and the lines taken from this sky cam, David.
Oh, what a neat angle. And you can see there Decker just squared off that corner and made a nice move. And, he didn't make the pass, but it's something you can't see from ground level.
Pichon on the move behind this threesome as they try to catch up with the leader, Kevin Windham. We'll be back. Welcome back to the Metrodome in Minneapolis for the 125 main event. Art Eckman, David Bailey, and Jan Beekes down in the pits right now as we take a look at the action behind the three front runners. A good competition between Pichon, number 101, and Pingree, number 41. Pichon's got his rhythm, David.
Well, he reminds me a lot of Jean-Michel Bale. And if anybody remembers Jean-Michel, he's very sneaky and very clever at getting his way through the pack, and that's what we're seeing right now from Pichon.
Oh, first place tightening up. Windham, 43. Huffman giving a run. Here's 23, Ferry, and Decker bangs him in the rear. Ooh, that could affect the Eastern Point standings right there if Ferry can't get back in quickly.
Oh, what a mess that was. Let's take another look. You can see Ferry comes in on the outside. It looks like he's just going to try to square off Mike Brown. Mike Brown can sense it. You see him glance over there. He jams on the brake. Says, no way. Then Decker comes in, runs over his foot, passes both of them. Man, what a bad break for Ferry. He was just sandwiched there.
It's lap 5. Here comes Huffman, and he wants a piece of Windham. He takes the lead.
That was a pretty easy move for Huffman. He's got a lot of confidence. And remember, this is Kevin Windham's second Supercross, and he's playing it real smart out there.
Brown, number 26, Decker, 27, Pichon, number 101. Pichon getting back in the heat. He had a bad start in 9th place, but battled through Clowers, Keeney, Pingree, and now is taking on Decker and Brown.
No, he looks really good. He's able to go fast everywhere on the racetrack. When you have to come from behind like that, boy, there's a couple of things that can happen. One is you end up stuck back there riding everyone else's pace, or you can take different lines and work your way up, and that's what he's doing right now. He's doing an excellent job.
Pichon, a second place finish last week as we go to our sky cam.
Well, you can see the ruts there on the takeoff of that triple. Boy, if he thinks a triple tough enough, add a few ruts in there. That's kind of like what happened to Robbie Raynard last week in Orlando. He got crossed up in the ruts. It took him right off the track. And look at this exchange.
Banging Brown and Decker. Pichon gets in front of the threesome now.
Well, Pichon just in the right place at the right time. But you know what? Sometimes you make your own luck, and right now he's riding aggressive, and he's got great balance.
Back to our leader, number 1, Damon Huffman. In 1993, he won the last 4 races of the year. Did not take the title. Jimmy Gaddis took the 125 West at that time. But he won at Anaheim, Pasadena, San Jose, and Las Vegas. And in last year, 2 more victories, but the title more consistent as we take a look at the interval.
Well, you can see how far it is back there to 3rd place. This is what happened to Windham in the first round. He got stuck in the pack, and the leaders put time on him. Now he's doing it to them.
Decker on the right, Pichon on the left. Each taking separate lines. They're catching up with lappers. Brown and Pingree, along with Ryan Hughes getting back. And what a comeback it's been for Ryan.
Well, it's been a great comeback. But, when you fall in the first lap like that, everybody goes by. It's really unfortunate. He couldn't have waited a couple of laps. He'd still be up there. And then he's got a glimpse of Ferry coming by. His number plate's hanging out there. That's got to be a problem for him.
Hughes Hughes, after crashing in that first lap, David, was in 15th, and he's trying to get back some valuable points here in the first race as far as the 125 West is concerned.
Well, this sets the tone for the rest of the season, and right now Huffman's got it all under control. You know, Huffman was on the ground, as I pointed out last week, and boy, he seems to have recovered. He's 100%. You can see he's dabbing through that whoop section. It's really difficult not only to get through those whoops, but to pick that rut as well and to try to pick a straight line.
Pichon in third place now, but right behind him, number 27, Craig Decker. This has been a great battle during this race.
Well, it's been awesome. And, you know, Pichon came from off the pace, and he's been the rider on the move, possibly the fastest rider on the track. And right now, Decker is hitching a ride, and if these two push each other, they could catch the leaders.
Halfway point now is Decker trying to catch up to third place, Pichon. Pichon said it took him a little while to get into shape because he came over to the United States to participate in the entire 125 tour, but he wasn't in shape when he got here.
You know, I think Pichon can get away with that, though. He's one of the types of riders that rides really smooth. He picks good lines, and he rides smart, and that requires a lot less energy.
Brown, Pingree, and Ryan Hughes.
Well, these guys are mixing it up, and Ryan Hughes is the one on the move. Oh, he hits the back tire of Pingree right there, and they both mess up. They don't get the speed to do the triple, and there goes Mike Brown. He puts a little gap on these guys.
Ryan Hughes, though, wants the inside on Pingree, and it's a battle down the whoops.
Well, you know, Ryan Hughes, he kind of cut across on the inside. That's his teammate. I don't know if it was necessary for him to get over there and try to cut him off like that. And, you know, some of the riders don't like Ryan Hughes' riding style, but, man, he's aggressive, and he wants to do whatever it takes to win.
Hughes in the first race of the season ran a 250 in Orlando, took sixth place. Good steady run for him. He was a third place in semis to get to the main event. And this is his first 125 event of the year. He is in sixth position, and we'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to Minneapolis. We're winding up the 125cc action. Damon Huffman showing his superiority out in front.
You know, as you watch this guy ride, doesn't even look like he's trying out there. And I used to always get blamed for that. I was like, come on, Dave, get with the program. But they look at the lap times and see how it's going fast. He's got that same quality. He's able to make it look easy. There you get a look at Tim Ferry now, who got in that scuffle with those other couple of riders, got knocked down, got the short end of the stick. His number plate's flying off. It's just a bummer to have won the opening round and have all these problems now.
And he's losing ground in the Eastern Points race after winning in Orlando. This is the first race of the year for the Western guys, though, and Damon Huffman begins the defense of his 125 Western crown in very nice style. He is the class of the 125s today.
He's a little bit lucky, too. You see him getting a little fancy there for the crowd. He's a little lucky in that his main competition came from Kevin Windham, and I don't mean to downplay Kevin's performance, but he is a rookie, and he's just playing it smart out there. You can bet that Hannah's not telling him to go for it and make mistakes. It's easy to get up there and try to go a little bit faster than you're capable and end up, instead of being second place, you know, 15th, end up on the ground.
Look at that shot just to the left of Huffman. That's Jeremy McGrath. He's checking out the whoop section, is he not? As Huffman really is cautious, coming toward his sixth career 125 Supercross victory, his second here in the Metrodome.
That looked pretty easy for him tonight. And here comes Kevin Windham. A great performance for him. And you know what? That looks good for him in the point standings for the East. He finished way ahead of Ferry, who won the opening round.
His performance today, along with Pichon's, vault them into a tie for first place in the points race. You see Ryan Hughes, number 9, after crashing, he came all the way back to 5th, but he was dejected, not jumping that final jump. Huffman, Windham, Pichon, Decker, and Hughes, the top 5. Jan Beekes is with our second place finisher right now, who's playing it smart. His second podium performance in 2 races.
Kevin, that was a great ride. First of all, tell us about Ryan Hughes. What happened there? You guys get tangled up?
Yeah, in the first couple laps, everybody's dicing for positions, and I put a real good block pass on me, and he got the job done, went on ahead about his business. But the first couple laps were tough. Then he went down one of the following turns and went down a tough break for him.
Well, with Tim Ferry having trouble, you may be right up on the top of the points of the East. That's got to be pretty exciting for second race of the Supercross career for you.
Yeah, I'm really excited about my finishes so far. I've had a third and a second, and I'm just so happy, especially this weekend. I was kind of a little nervous with the other coast on here. You know, it's going to be a little bit harder, and I didn't get as tired last weekend because, of course, I was a little more nervous with both coasts, and I had the Huffman, you know, number 1 plate on my tail, and he kind maybe make a few mistakes here and there, but I guess it's all in the learning process.
Okay, thanks.
No problem.
Well, he's certainly learning well. He's at the top of the heap along with Bichon. Ferry, Brown, and Dobb rounding out the top 5 in the East. In the West, it's Huffman by 7 over Decker. Hughes is 9 back with Pingree and Gonzalez. And here's Jan Beekes with Damon Huffman.
Damon, first it was the heat, now it's the final. Boy, you're making this look easy.
Yeah, I had a lot of good luck so far at the first of the year. I been getting some good starts, and that's one thing I didn't do last year, but I've been working really hard with them, and I think it's going to definitely pay off.
Now, you look very strong on a 250 as well, but it's 125 for you. That's what you're concentrating on. What's your goal if you can win them this easy starting off in the season?
Well, just to keep on doing what I'm doing, and so far I started off the right way, and I think the 250s really helped me. I feel stronger on the 125, and that's the main difference is weight and power of the 250, and it definitely helped me, and hopefully I can carry this on through Anaheim and the rest of the event.
Thank you, Jan. David, that was an interesting comment by Damon Huffman, relating the 250 experience to the 125.
Sure, it takes more strength, and you can bring that confidence and that aggression to the 125 and manhandle that lighter machine. There you see Pichon making a habit out of staying on the podium. As the season heads west, he's going to have more strength to bring back to the 125.
The 250s coming up next from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
This is a 1-800-COLLECT call.
Hey, this is your son, Jeremy. Your son, Jeremy. Trying to be funny? I've been eating pretty good. Doug and I were just hanging out.
Cheese. I'm not an actor.
What am I doing? Jeff's doing good. He says to say hi.
Hi, Dad.
Steve says to say hi.
Hi, Mom and Dad. Say what?
I think we're going to take it tonight. No, I'd rather have it on your bill than mine. I'm getting ready to go race right now. Mom, guess what? We just won the championship again.
It's time now for our Honda Flashback. Let's go back to 1994. Last season, the first ever Supercross in the Metrodome, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Number 19, Mike Craig, set the fast pace. He led the first 14 laps. But Jeremy McGrath hunted him down like a heat-seeking missile. The lead for the defending champion and his 8th win of the 1994 season. McGrath on the podium again, along with Michael Craig, who took 2nd place, and Mike Kudrowski in 3rd. Highlights of 250 heat number 1 are being brought to you by Suzuki. 250 riders can get to the main event 3 ways, being the top 4 from one of the 2 heat races. If they don't make that, placing the top 5 in one of the 2 semifinal heats, or in last resort, only 2 qualifying from the last chance qualifier. How important, David, is it to go directly to the main out of this heat race?
Well, it's important for your confidence. It's also important because how you finish in the heat race determines what your pick is to the gate, which is crucial for that main event. It's also less wear and tear on your mechanic.
Out of our Suzuki highlights, the big event of qualifying, really. Mike Craig taking Mike Kudrowski's rear fender off in the dash for the first turn. Kudrowski carried on, but Mike Craig grimaced in pain. The shoulder injury taking Craig out of the race. Number 33, Tony Amaradio, also felt the sting of the mishap, but it would be Craig who wouldn't get up off the ground for some time.
What a bad break for Mike Craig. He just got jammed into that first corner, had nowhere to go. He high-sided off at Kudrowski's rear fender, and that doesn't usually happen, but he fell just right.
Meanwhile, Todd DeHoop endoed, sending the 10-year veteran to the semis as well. But Craig, that was it for the day. John Dowd in the lead, the factory Yamaha, with Larry Ward, number 11, coming up from behind. Ward riding a smooth. Heat number 1 takes Dowd as Dowd cased it on the small bump. Mike Kudrowski, meanwhile, his battle next was with John Dowd. And Kudrowski, number 7 in the Kawasaki, takes the short turn and beats him through the whoops. Ward, Kudrowski, Dowd, with Brian Swink the lone remaining battle in heat number 1. He's taking on Bollet, the freshman, for the final transfer spot. Number 10 from the Honda of Troy team, Brian Swink, making the nice move.
Yeah, nice move. There's that section we watched in the 125s where it gives you an option of what you want to do, and he just chose a faster option.
Larry Ward, after a third-place finish in Orlando, gunning for a top spot here in Minneapolis, winning his first heat of the year. Ward, Kudrowski, Dowd, and Swink. They go directly to the main event. Heat number 2, highlights brought to you by Suzuki. A big name out in front, Jeremy McGrath. Emming also there with Doug Henry, a Honda teammate of McGrath's. Mike LaRocco had his problems at the start, stalling out.
Art, I can't figure out why this guy can't get off the line. He should know by now. And you can see Emming having his problems in the Luke section. That one line making it even more difficult. It's single file. There you see Lusk has nowhere to go and runs into the back of him.
Out in front, we had McGrath and Henry as we go back in the pack. Lusk, number 24. LaRocco went by 9 or 10 riders after his mistake at the beginning to make the main event.
You know, it's not that difficult for him to make the main event. I mean, a rider of his caliber should be able to carve through all these guys. The problem is he has no idea what's going on front, the pace they're running, and look where he's got to start. He's going to have like 10th pick to the gate for the main event.
And here with the last lap, he has one more chance to get a better gate position as he leaps by Emming on the triple jump. McGrath, Henry, LaRocco, Emming. Lusk is the big name in this heat that has to go to the semis to try to make the main. Jeremy McGrath taking the checkers. He has yet to lose in this young season. Doug Henry, his best heat race of the year in the young season. McGrath, Henry, LaRocco, and Emming going directly to the main.
And even though, Art, this is just a heat race, it's still important. I mean, everyone figures LaRocco's the toughest competition for Jeremy, and he just beat him once already.
Semi-final highlights number 1 brought to you by Honda. And it's Todd DeHoop, number 25, taking out to the lead. But Frederic Bollet, number 103, looking very smooth. Number 25, Todd DeHoop out of Hudsonville, Michigan. Made 10 mains last year. He's out in front with a chance to make it this time and takes the checkers in front of Bollet. So it's DeHoop, Bollet, Palmer, Cliff Palmer in third, Steele and Amaradio making it to the main out of semi number 1. Semi-final number 2 brought to you by Honda. Ezra Lusk got the good start, but Ezra, riding with a bad cold, a sore ankle, didn't need any extra races or bad luck. But his crash forced him to come back in the semis to make the main.
Well, Ezra's extremely fast in Supercross, incredibly talented, and unfortunately all that's going to waste. He's gone on the ground more times than he's not, and he hasn't been able to grasp that rubber side down concept.
Bill Lawrence and Buddy Antonez out near the front. That's Buddy Antonez, number 31, as Lusk fights through the crowd now to get back in the hunt.
Well, he's showing that speed and all that talent right there. Unfortunately, he's just making more work for himself. You know, it's hard enough to make the main straight out of the heat, but with the cold, it's just compounded, and he's going to be tired when he finally gets there.
Lawrence, number 1, Antonez, number 2, and Semi, number 2. 2 privateers helps the pocketbook to go directly to the main. Lawrence, Antonez, Lusk, Parsons, and Stone. With the last chance results, Jeff Dement winning the last chance qualifier, Hedden also making the field. 55,000 plus waiting for the 250 main coming up. The parade lap for the 250 riders in Minneapolis. The final check for these riders on the track. Jeremy McGrath, what a run he's been on. How has success affected this young man?
Well, there's always that switch in your mind. When you get on the starting gate, it's for pleasure because you've started it out as pleasure, but it always ends up as a job. I mean, I want to win races, and that is my job. But it's having fun riding the bike, practice during the week, just making it all fun. And since I've been training a lot lately, I've had to make it a lot of fun. And you know, I'm like kind of getting addicted to this training thing, and yeah, I kind of like it. So I'm definitely having fun and looking forward to this race here.
Art of all people to become addicted to training, I would have put Jeremy McGrath on last on my list.
Were you a great trainer?
You know, actually, it wasn't until 1984 that I actually became really interested in training. In 1983, I won all 3 titles. So it doesn't take physical training. It takes a great riding ability. But to last long, have a long career such as Jeff Ward, physical training is absolutely crucial.
Getting set for the 250 main in Minneapolis before the largest crowd to see a Supercross outside of California. A packed house. They braved the cold outside for the warmth and the action inside. The race for the hole shot. Jeremy McGrath is off to a great when he gets his first hole shot of the year. Emming is right there. Cut him off nice. Doug Henry is there.
Look at that. Kudrowski all the way in the back of the pack. Man, what a bad break for him. And there, Brian Swink all stuck in this mess. Look at his bike. It's completely jammed right there.
Yes, DeMenton Dowd also got hung up in that pack.
Well, here from this overhead cam, you can see everything that's going on there. It's just a log jam in that inside, and lets the leaders get away to a big lead. There's John Dowd just starting to get away clean, and there's Brian Swink stuck.
Well, the anticipation runs high, though, because in second place behind our #1 is Mike LaRocco.
Well, that's like a miracle to get these 2 guys off in the first lap, unscathed and ready to do battle. This is the battle we've all been waiting for. It was starting to shape up at Orlando, but LaRocco lost his rear brake. Most of us couldn't tell that, and really didn't turn into much of a battle at all.
Notice Jeremy McGrath is going over the top of the whoops while LaRocco goes in the rut.
I like that. I think that's a good strategy. When I was riding, I thought it was easier to ride through the whoops and not have to focus on riding through the whoops and through a rut. It'd be interesting to see what LaRocco does about that.
#6, Emmig, and #4, Henry battling it out for third. Also in good position is Larry Ward and Mike Kudrowski.
Well, I'm surprised to see Mike Kudrowski already clear up with these guys. We saw him in the first corner at the tail end of the pack. Man, he must be on the move.
Speed work is helping Mike out, evidently. Here's Henry. Ward. There comes Kudrowski.
Synthetic oil, the rest with conventional.
All these guys are kind of taking each other's line, and Kudrowski's able to come from behind and sort of, figure out where they're going to go and make his move. And he did a nice job right there. Now he's got his sights set on Henry, and well, he's riding a fast pace right now.
Even powered through the hay bale there on the corner a little bit.
Yeah, he's got all these guys in his sights. McGrath and LaRocco. Right here. I mean, from as far back as he was, he's still got a shot at the podium.
Lusk moving ahead of Ward as we look at Skip Norfolk. Jeremy McGrath's mechanic checking out on the stopwatch as #1 is really putting on a sprint now.
Man, it looks like the camera's speeded up on this kid. He just gets faster and faster with every lap. And like I mentioned before, he's in good shape now. He has the confidence to attack that track for 20 laps.
Henry a little bobbled, but good balance now, trying to chase down Emmig. And here comes MK.
Oh, Henry's in a bad spot right now, because if he tries to do anything out of the ordinary, take a different line to try to get around Emmig, Kudrowski's going to sneak right inside of him. And now Kudrowski's using the middle. He's elected not to choose the rut. And I think for some of these guys, it's a little easier not to have to worry about riding through the rut. Look at Emmig, lays it over in the air. It's just helping him to make that inside coming out of that corner. And it's just a weird angle looking down on these guys when they lay it over like that.
And a short straightaway before that first turn. Emmig, Henry, and Kudrowski still the order.
Well, Kudrowski there, you see him jumping all the way over that plateau. He's jumping, he's got a different rhythm everywhere. Man, he's carrying a lot of momentum. It'd be interesting to see what would have happened had he not got such a terrible start.
And Larry Ward is hanging in there right behind #7.
Yeah, Larry's watching this battle, and I think, it takes a lot of energy out of you. When you get in a big battle like this and guys are scrapping back and forth, you can see the difference in styles. Kudrowski's elected not to jump that first set of doubles, but it gives him that last set going into the corner. He's able to make the pass.
Gives him good momentum.
Right, and we talked about Larry Ward. He's getting a lesson. He's watching all these different lines, and you can bet he's taking notes. He's going to use that probably on some of these guys towards the end of the race.
Whoa, he gets in a rut. Down is MK. Kudrowski is down. Ward gets around him. Oh, bad break for Kudrowski now after really coming from behind.
Yeah, I think the wind is out of his sails now. Look, he can't even get the Kickstarter out. Emmig definitely chopped him off, but I think Kudrowski could have eliminated that by realizing it and just backing off a little bit and letting him have the line.
Meanwhile, out in front, Jeremy McGrath. He proved in the season opener he intends to keep the train on the track. He survived a bump and a crash in the first turn in the first race, but it's been clear sailing here today. Can LaRocco chase him down? We'll be back. Welcome back to Minneapolis for 250 Supercross action. Jeremy McGrath is our leader. Art Ekman, David Bailey, and Jan Beekes. McGrath continues a smooth ride out front, but Mike LaRocco, can he catch up?
Well, he looks faster through that section, Art. LaRocco has got the ability to sort of bulldog stuff like we used to see Jeff Stanton do, where McGrath tries to time it more. He's making time in this section right here.
You see Emig making good time, but Lusk and Larry Ward hanging in there in the ruts once again.
Well, you know, it's the whoops are worn down in the rut, but you got to focus like this rider here, 42, Lawrence. He's kind of wobbling back and forth. It's tough. You got to have perfect balance to stay in there.
Number 7, Mike Kudrowski after crashing. Todd DeHoop, number 25, as we take a look at the field. Here's Brian Swink, number 10, after getting involved in that first turn melee. Dement, number 77. There's 151, Josh Steele out of West Milton, Ohio on the Honda. He got into the main event, getting a 4th in the semis. And here comes around the lapper, our leader, Jeremy McGrath.
Well, the differential to second place seems to be staying the same. Here's a look at Ezra Lusk, who's had his problems trying to get to the main event this year. You know, this kid has got all kinds of talent. When he learns to keep it on 2 wheels, I think he's going to be a real threat. You know, in talking to Roger DeCoster, he says this kid's got some ankle problems that he's sort of downplaying. And I guarantee you that's causing problems. It's not giving him the confidence to be able to just really muscle that bike and keep it on 2 wheels.
Earlier, you pointed out how Emig laid the bike over to make a better turn on that straightaway. Lusk didn't do it, and it took a lot of speed away from him. As you see Emig starting to pull away a little bit. Here comes Lusk, though, number 24, and hanging in there is number 11, Larry Ward, right behind Lusk.
You know, he was involved in that big battle, and he wasn't really so much in the middle of it as he was just watching the whole thing take place in front of him. And he's watched all the different lines, seen where the good places are to pass, and time's winding down here. He needs to get on the gas, and I think he's got the speed to do it.
Here comes Ward, number 11, a steady run. He knows his limits. He's not pressing. He's not crashing like he did last year.
Right. Well, he's learned his lesson, I hope, from last year, you know, where he showed speed. He was really fast everywhere, and he's got the talent, the experience. He just couldn't keep it on 2 wheels and put in those consistent kind of rides that make you a title contender.
Oh, what a great threesome right there as Emig cuts Lusk off, but Ward gives him a chance to get into the fray. Now, wouldn't it be interesting if the non-factory Yamaha of Ward could catch up with the factory Yamaha man in Emig?
Well, he's caught these guys, and now they're starting to battle each other, and I think that's to the advantage of Larry Ward, and I think it's inevitable. He's going to get by both these guys.
His bike is about 15 pounds heavier as we take another look at the whoops.
Well, it looked like Lusk had a pretty good drive into the corner through that rut, and Emig sensed it. You know, earlier he moved over in front of Kudrowski and took him out. Now he does the same thing and shuts the door on Lusk, who's trying to come up the inside. It's not really dirty riding. He's ahead of him, and he controls the racetrack.
Emig, who got the whole shot in Orlando, finished 9th. He was 17th here last year after going down to the first lap.
Larry Ward still stuck behind this battle, and look at the way he puts his foot out. He gets ready for the corner. Talk about setting yourself up. Boy, he makes quick work of the corner, and he's got to make quick work of these guys, or the leaders are going to be gone.
Now, Ward would like to hit that second podium in 2 races as he spears through, gets by Lusk. Now he'll take on Emig.
Well, Larry Ward's got to chase Emig down, who's on that factory bike, and Emig's supposed to have an advantage. I know that bike's a lot lighter than Larry Ward's, and that's about it. Here's the pass. Larry Ward squares the corner, gets underneath Lusk. Lusk kind of mistimes that section right there and basically just hands it over to Larry.
Back to number 1, Jeremy McGrath out on top, and he's pulling away. He's pulling a pretty good lead right now.
But I can see Art McGrath hasn't made a mistake yet.
Let's go to Jan Beekes, trackside.
So where is Jeremy McGrath pulling out his distance to lead this race? Well, check this out behind me. He is completely clearing that jump. He is the only rider that started this race doing that. In second place, Mike LaRocco has figured out, yes, now Mike LaRocco is doing the same thing. He's taking his clues from Jeremy McGrath. Maybe he can close it and close it on the lead. Art?
Thanks, Jan. A graphic example of how Jeremy just dissects the track.
Oh, that's an awesome angle. Look at these guys are coming to the same section right there that they were just jumping completely over.
Larry Ward, the inside track. Can Larry Ward catch up to the factory rider Emig?
You know, Larry Ward just tried to make a pass on the inside there. He didn't have the speed to do that triple and didn't get all the way over it. And that takes a lot of energy to chase it like that. And, you know, as I mentioned before the replay, Emig's bike is a little lighter than Larry Ward's. I think that's the main difference.
Also, maybe the availability of parts, as Larry Ward has been waiting for factory parts. Didn't matter there as he takes the inside route. We'll be back with more 250 action after these words. Action number 2, LaRocco just can't seem to pick up time on the leader. Jeremy McGrath. Oh, he cased it there.
Boy, that was a big mistake right there. He was lucky to save it. You know, this is a bummer for LaRocco because he thought he was faster than McGrath in Orlando. Here he has no excuses. He was right there with McGrath, and he's losing ground.
It's not a good day at the office for the usually explosive LaRocco. Timing just doesn't seem to be there for him.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Second place isn't bad, but, you know, this is good enough for Mike LaRocco there. Oh, you see how close he was to going over the handlebars. You know, he just didn't get enough speed out of the corner, and his timing was a little off before he hit that jump. You got to be on the ball and quick like McGrath.
Well, that'll give you a good idea what these suspensions save a rider, too.
Oh, yeah. Back
Tremendous impact.
I think in my day, that would have been over the bars. The suspension didn't soak stuff up like it does now.
What's our leader thinking? Well, let's go to Jan Beekes with his mechanic, Skip Norfolk.
Skip, what do you tell Jeremy when he goes out and dominates everything? It's every time he seems to have the handle on everybody out there.
Well, you know, you got to go out there and you got to attack the track instead of attacking the other guys that are catching you or behind you. So we just go out there and you try to go lap after lap as hard as you can go, and whatever happens at the end happens at the end.
Thanks.
You know, Skip's a smart mechanic, and he knows how to keep his rider motivated. He knows when to be there, when to stay out of the way. And, you know, that's all that you can focus on is the racetrack. I mean, if you go out there and focus on everyone else, you sort of get magnetized into what it is that they're doing.
Larry Ward, number 11, very consistent race now, has moved into third. Ward into third, and here is a battle with Kedrowski coming up on Phil Lawrence.
Now, Kedrowski's had a wild ride. He got a terrible start, and then he crashed while he was on the move. I mean, he's had the wind taken out of his sails more than once tonight. He's still riding pretty aggressive, and you saw this back there before that corner. He jumped over that same section of LaRocco, and, oh, big mistake there.
But he does get by. It's an interesting situation with privateer and factory man there.
Yeah, you know, Kedrowski's really got the speed, and it's surprising to see him up this far as many problems he's had tonight.
Kedrowski's been focusing on speed for the entire 20 laps. In Supercross, it's better to be more aggressive in the beginning than the end.
If you've won the Triple Crown of Outdoor Nationals like Mike Kedrowski, you have the competitive nature to keep searching for the answers. For Kedrowski, it meant changing mechanics, getting new insight from the tuner of champions, Brian Lennis.
Starts. Don't forget to do the start.
If you're listening to somebody that's worked with the best and had the best, you kind of figure this guy knows what he's talking about. You know, I've seen results, so you know, you tend to listen more. And he has a lot of stuff that I don't know. You know, I've been around for a lot of years racing professionally, but he's been around a lot longer. So he's seen it, everything, every which way things can go. So, you know, I'm hoping that it can help me this year.
Well, there's not going to be that many guys jumping in there. And then just plateau this, single that one, come around, step up, and then triple.
Yeah, well, remember again, keep the speed going through the bowls, all the bowls, the one over there, the one over here. Keep the momentum up when you come off of it. And go all the way around. Well, no. When you get in there, get on the gas.
What looks faster, I might not be able to tell when I'm on the track when I'm by myself, you know, unless I'm passing somebody. So maybe he can say, hey, this guy's staying lower, try jumping it that way. So, you know, I think you got to communicate, and you got to have somebody that can watch that stuff, pick it out real quick, and be able to tell you.
We were looking at things, how we could enter things, how we could time things a little better. Instead of becoming set in just doing one line, one set of obstacles a certain way the whole race. More RPMs when you leave here. It's sticky a little bit. The biggest thing with Mike is we know he has endurance. If he runs 30 minutes, he's really difficult to beat. Our biggest thing is trying to get quickness.
I needed to change and do sprint work. You know, that was something that it was like, really? That's what I need to do? You know, not go out and do, you know, 50 laps a day. Go out and do 4 fast laps and do that 10 times.
Mike Kedrowski holds things in before exploding. On the other hand, Lennis has been known to throw a wrench quicker than most.
I think that's kind of good for me because if there is a problem, we take care of it now. Let's just do it and see if it works. I don't like to change like that, so I think it's healthy and it's going to help more.
On the whoops, down through there, you were more to the left. Craig was running in a group just behind you, and he was just hammering it.
Mike Kedrowski is off to a better start than being behind 31 points after 2 races last year, but changing old ways doesn't come easy. Can MK win?
Yes. Wanting to do it and saying you want to do it is two different things. But deep down, he wants it. He's willing to give up anything he has to achieve that. And that's the big thing, to make the sacrifice. You're going to win. Maybe not right away, but in the long term, you're going to do it.
Here's one bike that won't be doing it. Doug Henry had a pretty good race going for himself, but he leaped off the track, landed on the cement, and the handlebars broke. He was 4th here last year, but he's likely to end up 20th in this race.
Doug, where was it that handlebar broke? Did it just break from fatigue, or did you bump into somebody?
No, I crashed over there. I landed on the cement, and it broke.
Well, it's a good thing you didn't land on the cement. You're okay?
Yeah, I hit the cement too, but I don't know. I just got a little scraped up, that's all.
All right, well, you got another race next week to put it out of your mind, huh?
Yeah. We'll just wait till next week.
Meanwhile, his teammate Jeremy McGrath on the Honda out in front, looking for his 2nd win of the season, his 21st of his career.
You know, he looks fantastic, and you know, he came from behind and had a few problems in the first turn in Orlando to win. He's run here wire to wire. I don't see how anyone can stop this guy.
Well, we'll see if you just jinxed him, David. We'll be back in a moment to get it. Jeremy McGrath has won 20 Supercrosses. He's looking forward to number 21 in the shortest period of time in Supercross history, only 31 races. He's on his showtime lap right now. 8 wins away from Rick Johnson's career mark of 28. The knack for the fans.
You know, more impressively than all the records is the way he's riding this last lap. That section over there by the mechanics area, that triple that no one else can do but the Larocco. He's jumping that on the last lap. He doesn't have to. He's doing knacks, and he's lapped all the way up to 5th place.
He's only 4 seconds away from Emig in 5th place.
That's pretty demoralizing for Emig to look over your shoulder and see him coming around again.
Here's the man who's won 64% of his Supercross races in 2 seasons and 2 races, taking the checkered flag.
Well, it's going to give him a boost of confidence going into his so-called hometown track at Anaheim next weekend. Larocco taking 2nd there, and boy, you know, no excuses today. He just got beat.
And Larry Ward on the podium for the 2nd straight race. Quite a boost of confidence for him.
Well, it shows that first race wasn't a fluke, and now he's for real, and he's solidly in 2nd place in the point standings.
McGrath, Larocco, Ward, Kiedrowski, Emig, get a good ride for Phil Lawrence. Jan Beekes is with a very happy Larry Ward.
Larry, we're getting used to seeing you here on the podium. That's the 2nd week in a row we've seen you on the podium. You passed the factory rider. Man, your confidence is building, huh?
Yeah, definitely. You know, my no-lane Sizzler Yamaha's fast, and I said it from the beginning. I'm a new Larry Ward. I'm strong this year. Halfway, I just get faster. So hopefully I can get a start one of these days up there with those guys. I know they got a little speed on me, Larocco and McGrath, but hard work, and I'll keep training. Maybe my bike can be a little better, and we'll catch them.
Now, where do they have that speed on you? Any place on the track you think you can improve to catch them?
Well, I started about 10th, and they started 1st and 2nd, so, you know, that's a little disadvantage. The track was ruddy, and they were riding good. You know, they were a long ways in front of me. I never really saw them, so once I got into 3rd, I just rode smart and finished the race, and looking forward to next weekend in Anaheim.
Jeremy McGrath with a perfect 50. It was a tough day today for Mike Larocco.
Mike, obviously you're pushing very hard. You had a good start today. You were really trying to put the pressure on Jeremy. Where was it that it was hard for you to close the gap?
It took me too long to get going, I'll say that much. I was out front, and I wasn't quite riding like myself. I made quite a bit of mistakes, and let him get some distance on me. Then I kind of pulled it together and started closing the gap. Then I messed up with some lappers and a few mistakes myself.
Now, you had one time, we were talking to your dad, and then you cased it right when he was watching you and almost threw you off the bike, but yet you were able to regain that composure. Is that because you have to push that hard to try and stay with him?
Well, I mean, I was riding a comfortable pace with him. I just needed to ride a little faster to make up the time, that I gave him. So, yeah, I kind of forced a few mistakes. Not to mention the track is a little ruddy.
Yeah, but you got to be happy with 2nd place, huh?
Never. I mean, I got out front exactly where I needed to be, and, that should have been my race. I just didn't put it together.
Okay, thanks.
In 2 years, At the Metrodome, Jeremy has won both races.
He's awesome.
Jeremy, you go out again, you dominate, you got the whole shot this time, and we saw some stuff out there. It looks like you've been holding back. We saw you flying, especially over there in some sections. You saved some for the main, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, you got to save those tricks or everyone starts practicing in the heat race or practice. And, you know, I did it this morning, and I only did it once, and I just saved it for the main event. Well, Doug was doing it also, and we talked, and we told each other, okay, let's save it. And that's what we did.
Now, what is it that makes you be able to do that? What is it that helps build your confidence? What about Jeremy McGrath allows him to win these kind of races this easily?
Well, I think it's the technical standpoint. I think at home I do my homework, and I make sure I practice technical stuff like that. And that way when you get to the racetrack, you can do stuff that you're not supposed to, and it works.
Well, Jeremy, we enjoy watching you.
Thanks.
McGrath is smart. You know, all these guys practice. They all work hard. They all have gnarly practice tracks. But Jeremy knows that practice doesn't make perfect. Good practice makes perfect.
Well said, David. In 2 years, Supercross has run here at the Metrodome. More than 103,000 fans have seen only 2 winners. Jeremy McGrath in the 250s, Damon Huffman in the 125s. Will it continue in Anaheim, David?
Well, normally I'd say that'd be tough to answer, but as dominant as these 2 riders have been and the confidence they seem to be carrying into Anaheim, I think it's going to continue.
Getting ready for the celebration down on the victory stand now. They warned the trophy girl to get out of the way, but she insisted on staying. Larry Ward has opened more champagne corks this year than ever before.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. You know, he's doing an excellent job. He's up there. He's a privateer standing next to 2 factory stars, and he'd like to make a habit of that, I think.
And a look of disappointment on Mike LaRocco's face. Be with us next week. This is Art Ekman for David Bailey and Jan Bikas. That's it from Minneapolis. So long, everybody.